Hi, everybody. This is David Nevins for Citybiz List, and I am delighted that our guest today is my good friend, Dr. Kim Schatzel, who is the president of my alma mater, the one that I'm a proud graduate of. She's the president of Towson University. Kim, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, David. It's a pleasure to be here. And I also want to say that David was not just a student here, he was president of the SGA and left quite a legacy with that role going forward as well. So it's great to see you.
Yeah, probably the highlight of my career 40 years ago, I'm afraid to say. Thank you for that. So, Kim, I know, and I've spoken to a few of your colleagues, college presidents all, and I guess it's fair to say that none of them signed up for this, to be the president of a university during a pandemic. So first of all, tell us how it's going and how you're getting through, how your faculty are getting through, and I guess most importantly, the students, and are they able to get an education during these challenging times?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody, and it's not just college presidents, but everybody at the university and just everybody who's living through this realizes that there was no playbook for this. And it's serious. It's serious from a health and safety standpoint. We have research that's going on the campus. We're providing quality instruction to the students, and we've got over 23,000 of them in 100 different majors, everything from English to dance. So when you take a look at the complexity of managing a campus, leading a campus through a pandemic, the one thing I can tell you is the fact that it needs a team and it needs a tremendous amount of collaboration. And that's probably has been the key for us from the very beginning, and it'll be almost a year that we left campus. Under the state home order of Governor Hogan. We've been moving forward to be able to do that, but collaboration, over communicating, putting the students first has been at the center of everything that we've done. And everybody's come together to be able to do that. Right now, we have about 2,000 students that are in the residence halls. We're about 80% hybrid and about 20% face-to-face. And the face-to-face classes are more ones like theater, like performing arts, like fine arts, like labs, where you really need the face-to-face to be able to provide the kind of instruction that would be required. And it's very limited in terms of modality. But it is the fact that everybody wears masks. We're on campus with that we've done dedensification in terms of social distancing. In the residence halls, there's one student to a room, and we're doing extensive testing of the entire campus with regard to Sentinel. So it's operating as best it can be, given the circumstances. The work of the faculty and the staff and the students has been fantastic to be able to do that. But it has been a challenge throughout.
No doubt. I know, one of the things that I was always most impressed with at Towson, and obviously it's changed a lot in 40 plus a few years. I don't really need to say how many, I don't think, but the magnificence of the campus, the growth of the campus. So even though students are not there right now, for the most part anyway, tell us about the campus and when we are back to in-person learning. I know you have a lot of, you have new buildings, you have new programs. Share with us some of that excitement for the future.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I take pictures and I put it on Twitter and I put it on Instagram to remind everybody that the momentum of the campus continues in terms of what we're preparing for in terms of the return this fall. And we are looking to be able to return face-to-face. Of course, we'll consider health and safety and regulations, CDC, both state and local. But with the vaccine rolling out, at the way that it's rolling out, that we're very, very hopeful and are planning for the fact that we'll return in the fall. But there's been about $750 million worth of investment that's gone on Towson's campus, as well as within about a quarter-mile radius of the campus itself. We recently opened up our new science complex, which is over a 300,000 square foot building that is dedicated to STEM research and instruction that we're quite proud of, that we're going to be having a ribbon cutting. And that really supports the fact that this is not the same campus as it was when you were here. When we take a look at the types of majors that we produce, people will always think of Towson as being a teacher preparation school, and that's really our DNA. That's where we started. But that's our fourth smallest school on campus right now. We are the largest provider of healthcare professionals in the state, as well as STEM graduates and business as well. So the types of degrees that Towson has offered has changed, and that's where the infrastructure investment in the buildings come. So we have the College of Health Professions is the next thing that's on the docket. I've been spending time with the legislature because this year within session is when we're seeking approval for the first shovel in the ground money that we're hoping to break ground and have construction start on that College of Health Professions this summertime. So we're very excited about that. And we finally are going to be open the first phase, the first major phase of the University Union. That union was constructed, David, when you were probably on campus for the first time. And the campus had about 7,000 students enrolled. This was in the 70s. And now we have 23,000 people enrolled. So we've done about 100,000 square foot expansion and renovation of the University Union. And it is just spectacular. So the campus is very different than when people left it last March, with 2 new buildings opening and a third that is going to be going under construction right now. And that doesn't even count what's going on in Uptown Towson. We actually acquired a building at 401 Washington that's across the street from the county courthouse and the county government offices. And that was to provide for the fact that we needed to have space for example, our IT. There was just growing needs on the campus. And then we also entered into an arrangement to be able to have the armory, the old historic armory that's right at that corner too, to become what we call the startup. It's going to be a center for business engagement and entrepreneurship. And that's going to be opening this May, right behind where the Whole Foods is going to go, where Towson Row is going to be. So we're very excited of the fact that we are making an increased connectedness with Uptown Towson. And right now, if you take a look at the student housing between Altus, Aspen Heights, and York, which are 2 major private development for student housing up there, there's about 2,000 students that are living in that area, and it's going to bring a lot of great vitality to the Towson core, and we're excited to be a part of it.
Well, it's definitely not your father's university, as they say. Now, you call it Uptown Towson. I call it Downtown Towson. We're going to have to work that out, not necessarily on this call, but
I agree.
And as you know, that's just around the corner from my office. So I look forward to stopping in every now and then. And so, Kim, the student union, I came to the campus. I will admit, people can do the math if they want, but I arrived on the campus in the fall of 72. The student union was already operating. I think it was maybe a year or so old. So that makes it about, 50, closing in on 50 years. So I think it's about time that there was an addition or a renovation. I think you've gone from 3,000 or 4,000 students at that time to 23,000.
23,000. Yep.
So yeah, that's pretty good. Let me ask you this. During a pandemic, so most of your students are attending classes essentially online, and but they didn't choose an online university when they came to Towson, and there are certainly several of those from which they would have had an opportunity to choose. So does this concern you at all as a university president that that students might decide that online education is okay and they don't need the traditional residential experience? How are you handling that?
That's a great question. I think that all universities are considering that as we come on the other side of the pandemic. I would say for undergraduates, that you're going to see that undergraduates, in my opinion, are going to continue in a residential environment, those that would come to a university like Towson itself. And the reason is because a university experience is not simply what they're learning in terms of their disciplines in their classrooms. They're also developing strong mentor relationships with faculty. They're making use of the Career Center. They're making use of the lectures on campus. They're living in the residence halls. They're also getting an opportunity to meet people that are not like them. They come to campus, and we have students from all over the state of Maryland, but also 20% of our students are out of state. So they get to be able to live and learn with people that are not like people from their hometown or from their community. And that's all part of the learning experience. I will tell you that, and this is just an example, applications for housing this fall are up 15% as compared to last year. So you can see that the students are really thinking about the fact they want to come back to campus.
Right. They're anxious to get out of their parents' homes or wherever else they may be. I have a feeling you're going to be right about that. And it does strike me that Towson University, given its location in an urban center, whether it's uptown Towson or downtown Towson that we're referring to, but and the size and the breadth of the campus, it does seem is particularly likely to be well positioned to kind of welcome students back.
Oh, I totally agree. I mean, with the investment in the campus, with the degree programs, with the focus on a student-centric learning environment, 100 clubs, new Berta Call, it's a wonderful place to be able to live and learn. And with Towson, with the investment in Towson itself, the core of Towson, there's a tremendous amount of excitement and a vibrant community that the students can engage with.
Right. So apparently this is just more or less hot off the press. Tell me about our mutual friend, Nancy Grasmick's Leadership Institute, the Nancy Grasmick Leadership Institute. How happy I was to read about that.
We're very, very excited about it. So Nancy is an alum of ours, and as we all know, she is just a tremendous leader, serving as the superintendent of schools for Maryland for 20 years, 4 governors. She's a presidential scholar and was one when I first joined the campus 5 years ago. And as we've been having conversations, particularly it became evident during the pandemic, as well as just taking a look at needs across the state and nationally, is the issue of leadership is of particular importance to Nancy. And she often uses the phrase that, leadership matters. And I think we all use that phrase. And we started to talk about the fact that we have a women's leadership program on the campus and have had for many years, which she became engaged in. And the interest that she had was to talk with us about what about expanding it? And really, what about supporting the expansion of that institute? So we were very pleased to have Nancy be an inspiration for that institute and her leadership style and some of the tenets of what she feels strongly about in leadership. And then we were very grateful for the fact that she was a benefactor for the creation of the institute. So we're going to be launching programming this fall, and we're very, very excited to be able to create that legacy for Nancy in an area that not only she feels strongly about, but I think that every single leader that we've talked about in terms of developing the programming has said the fact that more needs to be done in the area because it's all about creating people that can make change and to be able to support change within their organizations.
I think I was so happy to see that that's going to become an important part of Towson's future. I think that, there's the role of educating the masses. That's very important. And I was also, as you mentioned, it was nice to hear. And I probably knew it if I had thought about it, but the fact that Towson's educating more healthcare graduates than any other school in the state of Maryland, I think is significant. But I think equally significant, as you just mentioned, is that Towson stepping up to educate tomorrow's leaders of the 21st century. I think that's great. So kudos for pulling that together. Kim, let me as we get close to the end of this, let me ask you this. I know that diversity and inclusion are a big part of your philosophy and execution for Towson University. And I'm assuming it's still the case that there is no graduation gap between majority students and minority students, or otherwise between white students and students of color. So explain that. Like, how is it that Towson has made that occur, and then other things along those lines that you're doing going forward?
So that's right, David. We have the second highest graduation rate of all of the University System of Maryland schools, and we're quite proud of that. But we are also the only university within the University System of Maryland, and one of the very few nationally. I mean, I'm talking a handful, like 5 universities, where we can say the fact that all our students succeed inclusively. So our Latinx students, our African-American students, our Pell eligible students, students of color graduate at the same rate as the general population. There is no achievement gap at Towson University. And on top of that, we do it at 23,000 students. 44% of our students identify as minority, and about 25% of our students are African-American. In fact, we enroll more African-American students than any other university in the state of Maryland, except Morgan State University. And we graduate them at the same rate. In fact, it's higher for African-American students than the general population. We're very, very, very pleased to be able to have those outcomes. And it's actually been a differentiator for us in the fact that Towson University over the past 5 years has contributed 68% of the minority enrollment growth across the 12 campuses of the USM. So it's something that we are committed to, both in the classroom as well as outside the classroom. And I often get asked, how does that happen? And I have to tell you, there's no silver bullet. It's about 20 different things and doing everything a little bit better than somebody else. But part of it is the fact that as a campus, we feel deeply committed to that as a goal. We monitor it. We have advisors in place. We have different sequences that we deal with students to make sure that they're progressing to degree. We have a fantastic math center on campus. You'll often see writing centers on campus, but we have a math center on campus because, in all honesty, it's hard to teach yourself math. So if you don't get something in the classroom, to be able to go back to your room and study it or have somebody explain it to you, that's increasingly difficult. It's very difficult to teach it. So we have a math center where students can go and get additional work. And I have to tell you, it's packed. The students use it all the time. And when you're looking at degree programs that are in STEM or in health professions, and business, which are a few of our leading degree programs, math, moving through the math sequence is critical to graduation. So if you have to take calculus or pre-algebra or college algebra over again, that's going to slow you down. And this math center is a great resource for our students to be able to get the support that they need to progress. So we do a bunch of things right, but it's really the commitment that we have around that goal. And it sets us apart nationally. And we're very, very pleased with the fact that we can deliver that.
Oh, that's wonderful. And, quite something to be proud of and hang your hat on. And, let's hope that astounding track record survives the pandemic, although I have no doubt that if it doesn't, you'll fix it pretty quickly thereafter. So, Kim, totally switching gears now because we're out of time. A lot of people are going to see this, tens of thousands, mostly in the Baltimore, Washington area. So we've all been living through this pandemic, and most of us have been practicing safe, social distancing and the like, as I know you have. So we're also, I guess, watching a little more television in the evening. Anything good that you've come across that you want to share with our viewers? What have you gotten a kick out of?
Well, I think everybody's watched Queen's Gambit. That's one of the
Yeah.
ones with the chess that we've all done. I have to tell you that we've all probably been cooking at home, and I've rewatched every single Ina Gardner Barefoot Contessa that there is. And that's something that I've kind of hung my hat on to be able to do. But and I've watched old Office reruns. So I'm a Hulu person that was able to do that. I think we often need a laugh today, David. So I tried to go with the comedies versus true crime or the rest of them.
And just for the record, we haven't all been cooking at home. I have to take exception to that. But I'm a big fan of Uber Eats. What have you? Any local restaurants you want to give a plug to? Where have you not been going necessarily, but picked up food from, or have delivered?
Right. Well, I've actually La Couture, which is down by Clipper Mill, down that way. They actually have a fantastic online marketplace that we've used. And the other thing that I've been able to do is I was really, really missing fresh oysters, and I knew you couldn't pick them up. So actually, from Chesapeake Oyster, you can order oysters to be delivered at Mom's Organic on York, and I've learned how to shuck oysters. And I got to tell you, I'm quite accomplished now.
Wow, let me see. Do you have all your fingers still? Let me see.
Yep, I do. I do.
Kim, did I fail to ask you anything about the great Towson University that you want to share with our audience?
No, I just want people to know the fact that, I'm quite proud of our faculty, staff, and students in terms of working with each other. And I'm really, really proud of the fact that we've remained committed to be an anchor institution for Greater Baltimore. We're the largest university, public or private, in Greater Baltimore, and one of the largest in the state. And we aim to be able to continue that impact. And this is a university on the rise, and the momentum is just continuing. And I've just been real pleased to spend time with you to be able to talk about that, David, particularly another Tiger.
Yeah, absolutely. Go Tigers. And I couldn't be prouder of the university's success. Kim, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, David, very much.